Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. Yes, as you can probably hear from the background, there is some exciting car-based action. Because I'm driving to work, it's another CarCast, with the recorder securely attached to the sun visor, and the speed limiter on the car set to a nice steady 30, which is of course the speed limit for my entire drive to work. I just wanted to spend some time with you. I hope you don't mind, because today I'll be talking about countermeasures. New Countermeasures Series 2. Now, when it comes to countermeasures, I've got, well, they're not even issues. I've got some thoughts that kind of bounce around my head. I am convinced that in an alternative universe somewhere, this program not only existed, but it was one of my favourites from the 1970s. This is a universe of Department S, of Jason King, of, well, you know that kind of thing. I want to say the Persuaders, or the Protectors. A place, a universe, where Roger Moore and Tony Curtis were fighting crime and doing investigation. Where back projection could take you almost anywhere, and exotic locations were not completely out of the budget. Yes, this is the world of countermeasures. A world where the surviving episodes are only in black and white because somebody junked them and they were originally recorded in colour, or perhaps the opening titles had "in colour" written in massive letters at the bottom, just like those brilliant episodes of The Avengers I love so much. Oh, and for the record, my favourite Avengers companion, it was Emma Peel for the longest time, and then I finally came across the 1967 or 68 box sets and just fell head over heels for Tara King's character, and of course, strictly speaking, her apartment. I'm a reasonable man after all. She's not everyone's favourite, but you know what, that's for another podcast for another time. Today we're here to talk about a programme that never was, but is so well executed that we think it actually existed. Now, here's the thing. Bear with me. You've got UNIT, who are an Earth-based force who've had some dealings with the Doctor, fighting some aliens. Available, currently, with Big Finish. You've got Torchwood, who are an Earth... You know where I'm going with this, don't you? Who are an Earth-based human organisation, mostly, who are dealing with alien incursions and strange threats, who are available from Big Finish. And, of course, you've got Countermeasures, who, again, have had dealings with the Doctor, who are an Earth-based force, and are dealing with, yes, you've guessed it, that sort of thing. So, when you've got three basic ideas that are, to all intents and purposes, the same thing, you've got some writing challenges to give them individual voices and unique selling points. Because let's face it, in this world of cut and thrust, a USP is very, very important. Oh yes, look at me with my jargon. I'll not be using the word meme, but I will be using the letters USP. I am acronym man. Leave it there. Right. You're probably very bored by this. What you want to hear is my review of the first 4 stories in this second box set. But I just needed to enthuse to see how brilliant. I love Countermeasures. I mean, you may remember I was actually listening to Countermeasures when the War Doctor rather rudely turned up in my PC, and I had to listen to that. I'm a reasonable man, after all. This was Derek Jacobi. No. As far as I'm concerned, this is superb, and it's very different from UNIT. It's very different from a lot of things, and that's fine, because that's what we're here for. yes, this feels definitively 70s, whereas Torchwood now, and of course Unit now, feels very much of its time now. So you've got your flashbacks, you've got your ancient enemies, which I'll come to in a moment, and you've got 4 cracking stories. The first of the 4 is called The Splintered Man. Now, it's a story that deals with cloning. So obviously, the person you go to when you're dealing with cloning is Dan Starkey. It's got nothing to do with clones of a Sontaran nature whatsoever. This isn't the latest Unit box set, after all, where we had a clone story that was based on that. Part of me was thinking that there might be some sort of exciting crossover. But no, this is a definite 1970s, think Plastic Eaters kind of a story, to deal with cloning and, of course, international jet-set lifestyles of the working class, in the sense that package holidays feature rather prominently here. Yes, we've got a whole post-fascist Spain thing going on, because this is set firmly in our world. Oh yes, and boy oh boy do I think it's great. Seriously, I can't fault it. After the first story, which is a cracking little yarn, we come to the ship of Sleepwalkers, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the closest we may ever get to a prisoner episode set firmly on, well, this world. Now, I, for one, have been asking for Toby Kinsella to play a number 2, actually be Toby Kinsella playing a number 2 who tries to bring down the village from the inside, because he would just be brilliant. He's got that tone of voice. Perhaps he would be a Toby Kinsella clone, and that would just throw things wildly. So perhaps as a number 2 he'd be great, but here he's definitely one of the villagers. Falling asleep and having no memories of how you get there, and waking up in a strange location is very prisonery. But of course, this being countermeasures, and we have 1 episode storylines, we've got, well, a ship with some people on board, mentions of some certain real-life CIA experimentation, which of course is going to be taken at face value, and then worked on. You know what I mean. I don't want to give away spoilers here. And you've got the unfolding and evolving texts. I am a very happy man with this box set so far. But it's made even better by story number 3, The Enemy's Enemy. My Enemy's Enemy. Now this features the return of an important villain, Lady Clare. Lady Clare is the international arms dealer who bears a striking resemblance to, well, you know, the dealers who happen to be the current villain in Torchwood. No, sorry, Unit. Torchwood, you've got a whole different set of villains, and their box set comes to an end very, very soon. I can't wait for that, but that's another podcast for another time, as I seem to be seeing quite a lot these days. Here, in this story, you've got somebody turning up who is a natural villain of countermeasures, saying, "Help me, I need some help, you are my only hope." And then some exciting political, yes, ministry and, I'd say Avengers-y kind of stuff takes place. You see, countermeasures isn't Unit, and it isn't Torchwood, and that's abundantly obvious round here. You can't say how good it is, because, well, it's just excellent. You start getting worried thinking, oh, it's just going to be the same areas retrod. You've got 3 different ranges covering the same area and not crossing over, even remotely. How tempting is that for a Worlds of Doctor Who box set that's coming your way? Which brings us up to the final story. Now, if you've bought the box set or even looked at the covers, you'll know one thing is obvious. The Yeti are back. I know, the Yeti, the Great Intelligence. I mean, let's face it, this story's actually called Time of the Intelligence. These things are signposted ahead. I know from the Not Big Finish forum, that's the Divergent Universe, that certain people out there bought this box set, skipped straight to story 4, which is a massive shame, and then experienced the Yeti story because they just needed a Yeti fix. And let's face it, it is the definite anniversary of the Yeti's appearances. Oh, and they are glorious. the Great Intelligence, his puppets, and, well, the Yeti themselves. I think it's the Type 2 Yeti, from the looks of the box, and it does make most sense. Using technology from the past, the only thing that would scupper anything like this would be it might mess about with unit dating. It does tend to place the story at some point in the 60s, bringing unit dating sort of parallel with the stories that are happening now, as in concurse, as in right now in the narrative story. You get that, don't you? So, you've got your unit stories happening at some point in the 70s or 80s. I would say the 70s, myself, in order to make this storyline work. But you know what? If you're going to bother worrying about that sort of thing, well, A, you're in good company, and B, we really need to get out more, don't we all? Because yes, we worry about unit dating, but who cares? You've got a Yeti story. You've got Yetis wandering around London. You've got references back to the underground invasion. Oh, it's just plain glorious. So if you were tempted by this box set, give in to your temptation and experience it. Because Countermeasures, I am so pleased, is here to stay. And new Countermeasures, oh, it's just brilliant. So yes, the logical family tree of the Avengers, Professionals and Bugs have a sister parallel. They have the wonderful world brought to us by one story that just keeps on growing. So with that, I'll let you hear the trailer, fade away, and speak to you very soon about something else, probably Blake 70, perhaps even, well, UFO-y. But you just don't know. So until next time, be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions.
Oh, no. There have been a few break-ins recently around London.
The new Countermeasures.
Not exactly our remit, surely.
You'd think not.
Series 2 box set.
What the? Shredded? What can shred metal doors?
I've heard all this before.
Blimey! What in the name of...
This confirms my suspicions. It's the footprint of a Yeti.
A Yeti?
No, go to full alert immediately.
Good citizens of the Oceanic, root out the strangers. Root out the strangers.
What an educated lot you are.
Lady Clare.
Fraser has designs on countermeasures. He may well have infiltrated it already.
They say that once you're down here, they can barely hear the screams.
Oh, look out, Sir Toby, look out! Let go of him and I won't shoot. What if I do this? No, Sir Toby, no!
Big Finish. We love stories.
Countermeasures, let's get back to work.
2018 brings with it 3 brilliant conventions, all held at the Derby Quad. ShadowCon 2. The UFO convention will be on June the 30th, 2018. Hooverville, the best little Doctor Who convention in the world, is on Saturday the 1st of September, while Big Finish Day is on the 3rd of November 2018. All tickets are available from the Derby Quad website. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.